Good morning. It's December 31st. It's 9 a.m. I will call to order the meeting of the Saline County Board of Commissioners. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Shadwick.
Here.
Commissioner Vidrickson.
Here.
Commissioner Sparks. Commissioner Weiss.
Here.
Commissioner Hay.
Here. Please, if you're able to stand and join me in a flag salute, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, we'll move into our citizens' input portion of the meeting where citizens can speak on county government, usually limited to 3 minutes, pertaining to items that will not be discussed on today's agenda. Are there any members of the audience or public who would like to address the commission? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move into the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the approval of tax roll adjustments, the approval of accounts payable, approval of public forum agenda, approval of payroll, approval of reappointment of Nancy Klostermeyer and Archie Riggs to the Department of Senior Services Advisory Board, the reappointment of Robert Exline to the Saline Community Economic Development Organization Board, transfer of property agreement, approval of cereal malt beverage license 156520 to Charles Fairchild, DBA Salina Speedway, and approval of cereal malt beverage license 159296 to C&W Ranch Ltd. Are there any items that any commissioner would like to remove or discuss?
Move approval. Second.
Have a approval and a second. A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign, and that passes 4-0. Okay, that will move us into our action items.
Resolution 24-2419, public official bonds with Hannah Bett, Deputy County Administrator.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
A couple of weeks ago, we had a discussion about public official bonds and the county having an opportunity to move away from travelers holding those bonds to our current insurance provider, K-Camp. So the action in front of you today, K-Camp actually requires a resolution to be adopted by the County Commission that sets the minimum amount of these bonds for each elected or appointed office if that amount differs from what is set and the minimum standards in state statute. So the proposed resolution in front of you sets the minimum bond amounts for the county treasurer position higher than what is required by state, and then also adds a bond for the county appraiser. The remainder of the positions listed on the resolution meet the minimum requirements as required by state statute, and the bond amounts do a good job of being able to reflect the level of financial risk that's associated with that particular position. The budget impact piece of this, the total annual fee for all of the bonds held by K-Camp is $386 and would be paid for through the insurance line item in the general fund.
And is this renewable every year, or is it, how long do these bonds, do they stay to our terms or up? Is that?
This is the difference between the bonds through K-Camp and the bonds through travelers. Through K-Camp, it stays with the position. So there's no additional renewals that we will have to go through. The only time there would be any changes to this is if we would actually change the bond amount. We'd have to bring back a separate resolution. But once your term of office is done and somebody else comes in, there's no changing of the names. It's
okay.
Totally tied to the position.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any public comment? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I move we approve RFA 2024-179 as presented.
Second the motion.
Got a motion and a second to approve RFA 2024-179. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign, and that passes 5-0. That moves us to the next item.
Internal MOU to protect ARPA funds with Philip Smith Haynes, County Administrator.
Good morning, Commissioners. As you are aware, today is the obligation deadline for our county funding under the American Rescue Plan Act, and we've been able to successfully obligate all of the funds, with the exception that Fire District number 3 did not, their bids for their building came in a little higher than anticipated, and so they're having some internal discussions, and so we need to do something to flow those funds over into next year. So the attached MOU was prepared by our federal consultants. They believe that it will protect the funding and allow us to go ahead and award that to Fire District 3 next year. I'd be happy to answer any additional questions.
Okay, any questions? Okay, any public comment? Okay, if not, I'll bring it back to Commission for action.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve RFA 2024-178 as presented.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to approve RFA 2024-178. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That passes 4-0. Thank you. Okay, that moves us into our informational items.
Administrators update.
Just a couple quick things this morning. First off, Salina Grace is wanting to do a sort of steering committee to address homelessness in the community, come up with some additional ideas about things that we could do. They've set the first meeting of that for January 13th at 2 p.m. Out at their Community Resource Center on Broadway. And I was wondering if any of the commissioners would like to be involved in that conversation. I told Chad Young I would float it by all of you and see if there were any volunteers.
Who is running that meeting?
It's Salina Grace.
I know that a lot of times those past meetings have just been more informational, and they haven't been interested in hearing necessarily for solutions. So
Yeah, the first meeting, which I attended, the first meeting that it was more information, sort of kind of gathering who might be interested, kind of thing. But this one, I think they're intending to actually have some more conversation.
and the time of the meeting,
2 to 3:30.
okay, I'll do it then.
Okay, great. I will let Mr. Young know.
Thank you.
And then the other thing that I did not have on the, when we posted the agenda, because I just thought of it yesterday, it's time for the annual allocation of the alcohol funds. And so in the past, we've had a couple commissioners volunteer to look over those. You still willing?
I'd like to continue,
Okay.
follow up on what we did
All
last
right,
year.
I'll follow up with the two of you then, and then we'll bring something back to the commission after the first of the year. That's all I have for this morning. Thank you.
Commissioners' comments.
I would like to follow up on that advisory council on the homelessness. This commission has talked in the past about getting with our city fathers, and I would like to see that happen. I'd really like to bring that to some resolve.
Yes, the city manager and I have had conversations about scheduling that. The scheduling has proved a bit challenging, and now with a change in administration on that end of the hall, I'm hoping we could do something late February, early March, but I understand they'll be appointing an interim potentially on Monday, so I can take it up with that person.
You're talking more about the budget.
Correct.
Yeah, so I just before budget process starts, I would think.
It's just how much we interact
Right.
because of what our role will be.
Right. Sounds good.
Announcements.
couple announcements this morning. First, Happy New Year's Eve. Just a reminder, of course, that county offices will be closed tomorrow, and encourage everybody to celebrate safely this evening. The second announcement is next Tuesday will be the final meeting for Commissioner Vidrickson, and so we are having a little bit of a reception Tuesday morning in advance. So like to encourage folks who might be listening who want to honor Commissioner Vidrickson to just drop by at room 107B in the morning about 8:15 before the regular business meeting.
Okay, nothing else. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 That passes 4-0, and we see you guys next year.